everybody, welcome back to another episode of Chelsea Bakes. In my free time, I really like to go online on Pinterest and baking blogs and find new recipes for the show and for fun. And I stumbled across this recipe a few years ago that actually puts a twist on chocolate chip cookies, which happen to be one of my favorite snacks. So we're going to actually replace some of the butter for cream cheese, and I promise that you can't taste it at all. It just puts a little twist on the recipe, makes it a little bit healthier. So let's get started. So the first ingredient, you're going to want to get 1 stick of unsalted butter and either melt it or have it softened. So I melted mine in advance to save on time. Then you're going to want to add 1/4 cup of cream cheese, and you want to use the regular cream cheese like the Philadelphia brand. I wouldn't really recommend using a fat-free or a whipped. It doesn't seem to hold as well in the recipe. Next, you're going to want to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So it's a relatively simple recipe, but it makes the cookies really fluffy. They aren't flat when you bake them. And they taste just like regular chocolate chip cookies, but they're like a soft batch kind. So next you're going to want to add 1 large egg, yolk and all. Then we're going to add 3/4 cup of light brown sugar. And then also you're going to want to add 1/4 cup or 1/3 cup, whatever you prefer, both work, I've tried both, of regular white granulated sugar. So once you have all the ingredients in your mixing bowl, you're going to want to mix with a stand mixer for 5 minutes, or you can use a hand mixer for 6 to 7 minutes. I prefer to use the hand mixer for this recipe because it seems to work a lot faster. And you're going to want to mix on a medium-high speed, again for 6 to 7 minutes. You want to make sure you have a really creamy, fluffy texture at the end. No lumps, just really creamy. I don't really prefer to use the stand mixer for a simple recipe such as these chocolate chip cookies because it takes a lot of time to put all the pieces together and clean. So first you're going to want to add to the mixture 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. And next you're going to want to actually add 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. And then 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then just a pinch of salt. You don't have to add the salt. The recipe says that you can do either or. I always add just a pinch. Then you're gonna wanna mix the dry ingredients with your already pre-mixed ingredients. You can do it on a medium-high speed. This doesn't take quite as long. You only need to mix this dry portion for about 1 minute. You want to make sure you scrape down the sides so you're getting all of the flour mixed in with the ingredients. So once you make sure the flour is mixed thoroughly and you're starting to get a sticky consistency with the dough, you're gonna wanna add my favorite part, which are the chocolate chips. So the recipe calls for semi-sweet chocolate chips, but I like to do a mixture of milk chocolate chips and semi-sweet chocolate chips. So you need 2 cups and 1/4 a cup total. I always opt for the Ghirardelli milk chocolate and the Ghirardelli semi-sweet chocolate. So you're gonna wanna add all the chocolate chips. Again, 2 cups and 1/4 a cup. You can do as many of each kind as you like. I prefer to have more of the milk chocolate. And then you want to make sure you mix this. It's going to start to form clumps, but that's okay. You want to just make sure you get all the chocolate chips mixed in. And this is probably the second hardest step of the recipe because you're going to want to eat the dough, but you can't because of the raw eggs, unfortunately. I wouldn't recommend eating it. Although it does smell tempting. So you can see that the dough is really thick with the chocolate chips. You just want to make sure they're evenly distributed throughout the mixture. Doesn't really matter how long, just maybe about 30 seconds, a minute. So normally at this point in the baking process, you're going to want to preheat your oven for the appropriate temperature, but this recipe is a little bit different. Before you preheat, you're gonna actually want to refrigerate the cookie dough balls for a minimum of 2 hours in the refrigerator. Or you can even do it overnight if you need to bake them the next day, or you can even do it for up to 5 days. I wouldn't wait any longer than that, but up to 5 days you can put them in the fridge. So you're going to want to get a 1-inch cookie scoop and start forming your cookie dough balls. You can use a spoon as well, but I opt for the cookie scooper because it seems a lot easier. It really gets the dough and it has a really nice hook in there that helps you scoop the dough balls out. This is one of my favorite tools to use. I highly recommend it. So you're going to want to place the cookies 2 inches apart on the baking sheet. You can even make the cookies a little bit bigger if you prefer 2-inch, but I like smaller bite-sized ones. My family seems to be a fan of those as well. So now that your cookies are ready to be refrigerated, you're going to want to cover them with cling wrap or saran wrap, something just to keep them, out of the elements of the refrigerator. And this recipe usually makes around 2.5 dozen medium small cookies. However, what I would recommend is if you only want a few or a dozen, you can actually save the rest of the dough and freeze it for a later time. So once your cookie dough balls have been refrigerated for the minimum of 2 hours, you're going to want to take them out and make sure you preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which I've already done. And I actually pre-refrigerated these in advance so we can see the finished product today. So we're going to just pop these in the oven for 8 to 9 minutes, but no longer. And you're going to want to watch them and make sure the edges are starting to set and the tops are glossy. Once you see that in the 8 to 9 minutes, that's when you know they're done. So we're going to put those in the oven now, and right after this short break, we'll be back with the finished product.
Healing Heroes is an opportunity for Armstrong and our communities to give back. We've partnered with Guardian Angels Medical Service Dogs, which rescues, raises, and individually trains the highest caliber service and assistance dogs at their facility in Williston, Florida. They are then paired with veterans with disabilities such as PTSD, seizure disorders, and more. If you would like to help, visit facebook.com/ArmstrongOneWire and click the Healing Heroes tab. Together, we can unleash the power to heal.
A paper bag. Go ahead and examine that. That is completely empty.
Yes, nothing in it.
Okay.
Okay.
Just set it on the table. Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna tell you when to stop.
Wait, me tell you?
Yeah. Tell
Sorry.
me when to stop.
I got like it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's her magic way of saying stop.
Look at the card.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at the card. Everyone see the card. Okay. So, throw it in the bag there. Okay. I have paper clips.
Okay.
You're just gonna take one. Put one in the bag. Okay.
Okay.
Just gonna give the bag a little shake.
Everybody remembers the card, right? Because I think I can.
Okay. I want you to open that bag. Look in there.
Okay.
And tell me if one card has a paper clip on it.
No.
Can I pull them out?
Yeah, you pull them off.
Yes, one does.
What card is it? What? That's amazing.
I don't understand how at all. That's awesome.
Like if I put if I put socks in here for you and you do that, will it make them all for me?
No, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Late Shift, Thursday through Sunday at 10 p.m.
Welcome back to Chelsea Bakes. Now that we took the cookies out of the oven, there's just one quick thing I wanted to mention. I had my cookies in the refrigerator overnight, so probably around 8 or 9 hours at this point. If you have them in overnight or for several days, you're going to want to make sure you let them thaw out for about 15 minutes before you bake them. And also depending on your oven and how long you chose to refrigerate them for, you're going to have to maybe alter the baking time by 2 or 3 minutes longer. So I actually had to bake these for about 12 minutes, but if you do just the recommended 2 hours, you only want to bake them for 8 to 9 minutes. Again, just make sure you watch them and check for the glossy appearance on the top and the edges browning whenever you're baking. So we're just going to scoop a couple of these on now that they've cooled off a little bit. Scoop a few onto a plate. Enjoy with a nice cold glass of milk. And so there you have it, cream cheese chocolate chip cookies. I want to thank you for joining into Chelsea Bakes again. Next episode, we're going to make homemade dog treats in honor of Lucy's birthday. Thanks, bye.